This is the Fifth Estate, coming to you from the Fort Hall School of Government in Nairobi, Kenya, and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, we will submit that William Ruto will not win the 2027 election. The opposition will lose. And this is how Ruto will go back to State House. The opposition is like this man, described by Martin Luther King Jr. The man was a Dutch American, caught in the routines of colonial life before America got its independence. His name was Rip Van Winkle. One day, Winkle went loitering in the mountains of New York. Then he chanced upon a group of happy fellows imbibing strong liquor and playing games. They invited him to the party. Mr. Winkle enjoyed himself galore. It was a good party. Then he fell asleep, and as the story goes, he slept for 20 years. When he woke up, the American Revolution had happened and America was free. The poor guy could not recognize anything anymore. Everything had changed. And the sad part of the story, as told by Dr. King, was that Mr. Winkle had slept through the revolution. So what is our point here? There are collective moments where societies sleep, ignoring the slow changes happening beneath their feet. And this is why Ruto will not win. The opposition will lose.
Change doesn't always announce itself boldly. It sneaks in during moments of collective sleep. And the opposition is in what Tanzanians call usingizi mnono mno, or deep sleep full of fancy dreams. But why do we say so? Let's begin by asking a question. How did Ruto win the 2022 election against Babaman, the Kenara himself? And because we did not believe this mystery, we expected the Supreme Court to nullify his election. Instead, they called the Raila victory nothing but hot air. Why? Ruto became president in our moment of collective sleep. There was a slow shift beneath our feet, but we did not recognize it. We slept through a soft revolution. What about Kikuyus? Why did they support him with such passion and later despise him with similar passion? Here is the truth report. Ruto only needed the Kikuyus to make him president. Once he crossed that line, their support was irrelevant. And that is why he chose a renegade called Gachagua as his deputy. He knew Gachagua would take the Kikuyus away from him, and it did not matter. But this is what we are asleep to. The invisible changes shifting below our feet. Ruto will be re-elected, not by the big tribes, but by pockets of voters across the country.
The old model of doing elections is to create alliances between big tribes. If the Kikuyus and the Kalenjins come together, you have tyranny of numbers. But this is changing. A slow shift beneath our feet is happening. An alliance of small pockets of voters from Gema, Somalis, Luya, Luos, Kalenjin, Mukuru kwa Jenga is creating the new tyranny of numbers. And we are collectively asleep to it. We are using an old map to get to new lands. But how will tyranny of small numbers work? It is simple and constitutional. 1. IEBC wants to abandon the old voter register and create a new one. The current register suppressed Somali voters through ID issuance as implied by a court decision and exaggerated Kikuyu voters. If you have a new voter register, the game will change. 2. The Elections Act 2024 introduced mobile polling stations in the form of vehicles meant to reach the excluded communities. How this will work, we do not know. But these polling stations will be the vehicle that will create the tyranny of small numbers. 3. The tyranny of small numbers will be created through delimitation of boundaries, which is a constitutional requirement. Kenyans do not know what this is, but this is the revolution happening beneath our feet.
In the meantime, opposition has gone to Tanzania in search of adventure. They are sleeping through the revolution at home. And what they do not know is Tanzanians are a peculiar people. I will use a story written by the Standard newspaper in March 1998 to illustrate this. A magistrate's court in Ruto, Tanzania, sentenced a dog to hang until it dies. The offense? The dog had an offensive name that demeaned a government department. The name of the dog was Immigration. It was given this name by its owner, John Kachela, who was frustrated by the immigration department. Every morning, Kachela would go to the immigration department with his dog and he would call it Immigration. According to the magistrate, this meant that each time Kachela was calling his dog Immigration, he was calling a respected government department Umbwa wewe. Instead of sentencing Kachela, the dog was sentenced to death. And because the police department did not want to waste a bullet on the dog, they used a rungu to clobber it to death. And this is Tanzania for you. Opposition has gone to witness its court processes as the tyranny of small numbers is happening in Kenya. This is why Ruto will not win the 2027 election. Opposition will lose it.